Fear Experiment because I feel like it's the next step in my self-care journey. I've been reading and writing a lot about my past hurts and understand how that informs who I am now. But I have yet to take action to use this information to become the person I want to be. It's like when you're in college but you have yet to take the internship. Well, this is my internship. I'm scared of vulnerability, but my entire life I've been guarded and standoffish towards people because of the fear that if I let them close, they will harm me. However, I'm really good at surface level relationships and talking with strangers because they don't pose a threat. Eventually, this morphed into me thinking that I don't deserve the long-term type of relationships. But doing FE will be my version of a coming out party, as in coming out of my shell and tearing down the cinder blocks that I spent my whole life building.
I want to put myself out there again. Since college, my whole life has been just doing the next steps of what I thought would lead to success. I want to experience personal growth again for myself, not for anyone or anything else. I want to build real, meaningful connections with people in Chicago. Soon after I came to Chicago, I fell ill, so my first 3 years of being here felt like I was quietly observing the city from my apartment window. I want to be surrounded by people who are also vulnerable yet open. I want a positive, life-changing experience. I miss having music in my life and would love to be a part of performing in a group again. I'd like to not worry about everything being perfect. I want to be okay with just trying and having fun. I'm proud of the 28 years I've spent in and out of hospitals and doctor's offices since I was young, and how it's made me a sensitive, caring person. I'm proud of my constant fight for my health and my refusal to give up.
As someone that struggled with mental illness, I have overcome so much that I'm extremely proud of myself for. I've lived a pretty unproductive life up to this point, and I'm ready to start doing things that push my limits and put me out there. I'd like to be more of an extrovert and not worry so much about whether or not people like me. Fear Experiment is especially important to me because for the first time in years, I'm doing well and I'm finally ready to gain new positive experiences.
I've been raising my children and now need to raise myself and find my passion. In my late 20s and 30s, I took improv classes and dance, but stopped to have a family and have lost myself in the process. I've been feeling stuck, lost, and alone. I need to ignite passion. I need to ignite a passion within myself. I would like to find a job about which I can feel passionate. However, fear and lack of confidence seems to be holding me back from pursuing anything. And after watching the info video multiple times, it appears Fear Experiment is where I need to be to help create a mac and cheese life for myself.
It's strange to be married with kids and justify feeling lonely, but it's often how I feel. I spend time coordinating things everyone in my family wants to do and often feel I have to sacrifice my own wants. I turned 40 this past year, have had some personal challenges, including weight gain that I need to get rid of, and just experienced a friend's death from a brain tumor. I simply want to make the most of my life for me, because I'm worth it. I'm proud of my children, ages 15 and 12, who are growing to be kind, hardworking people, and the work I do in early childhood. I'm a fun and kind person to be around and would love to have more fun and kind people to hang out with.
I'm proud that I started my own business and for dedicating so much time to personal development. I went from stressed out, fearful, anxious, and unfulfilled in corporate America to feeling calm, joyous, and enthusiastic about my life today as well as my future. I'm following my intuition and making decisions that feel right for me and no longer doing the things I should do or what others expect of me. I want to do Fear Experiment for a few reasons. One is to overcome my fear of singing. I think it's symbolic of holding back a part of me that I want to grow and come alive through my voice. There's something about using my voice that feels extra vulnerable and scary. I think conquering this fear will allow me to really speak out about my beliefs and passions and become a stronger version of myself. Secondly, I think it would also be really therapeutic to write and sing music. And finally, number 3, I want to make new friends that are interested in growing and learning together. I have been through a lot of mindset shifts over the past few years, and I'm looking for like-minded people to support me in my new mindset. Something tells me that FE might be the place.
I'm particularly interested in FE because I wanted to bring my grandmother's stories to life. She's in her early 90s. She survived World War II and the Holocaust. She was deported to Siberia, refugeed in Tehran and India, lived in England in a totally Downton Abbey situation. She was the nanny, her husband was the chauffeur mechanic, before moving to Chicago in the 1950s. I've been looking to find a framework to explore her stories. She brings the abstract notion of war and casualties to life, and in the current political climate, I find so many parallels that are relevant today. I'm scared that she'll pass on before I get a chance to really flesh out her history. I've been trying to capture her stories for years, but without a framework, it's just words. And I'm a little afraid I'm gonna cry on stage.
Despite the many blessings in my life, I am not fully happy, and I want that to change. I bury myself in my work and don't make time to do the things in life that really matter. As an only child and an introvert, it's easier for me to say no to invitations and spend time by myself instead of saying yes to new people and new experiences. I am hoping that Fear Experiment will allow me to challenge old behaviors that are not serving me well. Shyness, taking risks, being afraid to make mistakes and live. I especially want to do an art form that allows me to focus on my body, play, flow, and laugh at myself. I want to be better at failing well. I don't like to be bad at things, and I don't like to underperform. I'm a type A perfectionist who overthinks everything and who has a very critical inner voice, often self-inflicting. I would like to live more in the moment and less in my head. I would like to take myself less seriously and be more comfortable with not doing and saying things exactly right. The idea that I might be the worst person in my group, or that as time passes, people may surpass me in ability, scares me. I also worry whether I will gel with my team. Will they like me? Will they think I'm boring? Will they think I'm weird or unfunny? Performing in front of friends and family versus total strangers absolutely terrifies me. I could deal with strangers, but it'll be so embarrassing if I mess up on stage in front of people who I have to see afterwards. What am I proud of? 2 years ago, I made a courageous leap to leave corporate America. I took a 40% pay cut, left behind a lot of money in unvested retirement funds, and followed my heart to work in education. The work is extremely hard and emotional, but this was the best decision of my life, and I've never looked back. Secondly, I learned to ride a bike about 4 years ago. At the age of 32. No one had ever taught me, and it became a self-inflicted point of shame for me throughout my life. I decided a few years ago that I would learn, no matter how ridiculous I looked. I found someone in Boston, even though I live in Chicago, who helps adults learn to ride bikes. She was awesome, and I learned in 3 days, so now I can ride a bike, and I'm proud of that.
I'm so proud of founding the nonprofit Ryan Banks Academy to help inner city students have a safe, secure, and loving place to live and learn. It was a dream for many years, just a dream, and we are now turning it into a reality. What we are doing is very hard and scary and challenging, but also the most incredible thing I've done in my life. I pinch myself every day for getting to do this work. I'm really proud of the fact that I used to be someone who was very nervous, scared, and timid, but that I am now someone who goes after her goals. I have done a lot of challenging things in my life, ranging from running marathons to skydiving to starting a business, and I am that much stronger of a person as a result. And now, at least most of the time, I love pushing myself to do what is outside my comfort zone.
I am proud that I was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Republic of Macedonia from 2007 to 2009. Peace Corps! Nothing will ever top that experience for me, no matter how hard I try. I've been in a rut lately in my life, and I need something to help kickstart me back to where I want to be. I feel that the past couple of years I've been on autopilot, and I'm hoping that doing something outside of my comfort zone will help me get back in touch with myself so I can continue forward momentum and truly be my best self. Sometimes all I can think about is what's missing, and I don't understand why I can't see how awesome I have it. I'd like to be better at appreciating all of the wonderful things I have in my life, and I think this is the way to do it.
I'm proud that I created and directed a community service program in college. As someone who has never seen herself as a leader, this didn't feel like anything I would ever be able to do, and it was the only time I've been in such a position. Yet it was one of the most surreal experiences, and I would love to find that sense of pride again. In the past, fear has determined a lot of my decisions, but after graduating from college, I decided more and more to not let fear stop me from doing anything. Improv is something I've wanted to try, yet I've not had the courage to do. When I heard about Fear Experiment, everything clicked. I knew it was something I wanted, and in a sense needed to do. I'm terrified of putting myself out there, and I love that this is what Fear Experiment is all about. I'll get to experience a new art form in an environment that is supportive and understanding. Another reason I really would love to do Fear Experiment is that I recently went through a breakup and I'm trying to find my place again. I'm rediscovering what makes me happy and I'm looking to build a community. I get butterflies thinking about sharing so much of myself with a group of strangers and letting my guard down. I also think allowing myself to be creative when I often believe I'm not, and developing that creativity with so many people would be scary and a good challenge. I would like to be better at having confidence and asserting myself. I'm a big people pleaser and really want to stand up for myself more, figure out what I want, and go after it.
I'm very proud of my school and career progression so far. I finished both college and grad school debt-free because of scholarships and a waitressing job in 4 years' time, 2 years undergrad, 2 years MBA. I was recently promoted and I'm the youngest person at a company of 18,000 employees to hold this high role. All of my peers are 40 or 50 years old. I recently competed in a bodybuilding competition for the first time. Basically, crazy dieting and working out for 5 months to stand on stage in a sparkly bikini and be judged solely on how I look. I'm struggling to find a hobby as an adult outside of work and fitness. I believe this experience would help me appreciate my artistic and creative side again. I would also like to be better at making connections and having stronger friendships. I'm very independent. I don't have a ton of close friends and I struggle to maintain close connections with others. I need to develop more confidence that people actually want to be in my life and are excited to be my friend. A scare factor for me is actually inviting my current friend group and family to see me perform. Each has a perception of me that would definitely be thrown off by me doing something like this, but probably for the better.
My friend Kelly was in a previous Fear Experiment. After almost every practice, she would come into my work and tell me of her night. I was intrigued, so of course I had to go see her. It was amazing. It took me back to my childhood. When I discovered Saturday Night Live, I of course loved the comedy, but what I loved, or actually craved, was the camaraderie that I saw at the end of the show. When the host thanks everyone, and the music swells, and the cast hugs and congratulates each other for a job well done, and they know, by audience reaction and their own sense of accomplishment, that they worked hard together toward a goal they achieved together. When I attended FE to support Kelly, I saw that camaraderie not only at the end of the performance, but also throughout. It was so thick that I got a high from it that lasted for days. I missed that feeling. I crave that feeling. I'm now 40. I moved to Florida in 1998 to live my life. In 2004, I became pregnant, my daughter's father left me, and the restaurant I had been working in unexpectedly closed down. Due to circumstance, I put my 2-bedroom apartment into storage and moved back to Indiana, back into my mother's home. I've been here ever since. I'm not saying that I haven't met some wonderful people and had fabulous experiences, but my heart belongs in Florida. I'm ready to leave. I started saving boxes from work and getting my plans into motion to move back. Then I saw FE and the camaraderie, and now I'm filling out this application, which would detain me till November because I feel that FE would be something from which I could greatly benefit and possibly contribute to as well.
As I was watching my friend Karen in the Fear Experiment show in March, the person sitting next to me asked me if I would do FE. I said no in a heartbeat. I bumped into her last week and she invited me to try FE. I believe in science. I feel like the universe is inviting me to dance. If I say no again, I don't think I would get a chance to say yes ever since this is the last FE, so I'm doing it. I want to experience what it is like to be part of a group. I want to meet more loving people. I want to dance with them and forget the fear. I drive a cab in Chicago to support myself. I get by from day to day and I'm feeling positive. I don't know how I would come up with the money for this, not sure how I will dance. I'm just going to trust the process. Recently, I promised myself I would listen to my body over my mind. The body says move, do something, and dance. I am applying before the mind takes over.
I want to do FE because I need something good in my life right now. I've had a lot of ups and downs the last few years, and even with a lot of good things happening simultaneously, it has left me feeling pretty drained. The biggest thing to date that I've had to deal with was the fire at my apartment building a little over 2 months ago. I was dealing with feeling angry and upset, while also feeling too privileged to be angry and upset, and then realized it was okay to feel the way I did. It re-centered me and reminded me of what I am truly thankful for and what is important to me. I'm trying to figure out how to get what I want out of life while also taking the steps to give me a foundation. Read, making enough money to pay off my loans that also allows me to explore my humanity. One of my friends was telling me recently that I am thoughtful and mindful, but that sometimes doesn't allow me to just be. I know that at my core I am warm and silly and loving and curious, but that part of me doesn't always get to come out because it is overshadowed by my plans and my goals and what I should be doing and trying to figure out adulthood and figure out my life and working at a job that is very meaningful and rewarding but also very emotionally draining. What I'm most proud of is that I quit something, actually. My first year out of college, I was in a 2-year teaching program. I survived the first year even when I was beyond miserable because I wanted to prove to myself that I could make it through and I wanted to be there for my students. Deciding to leave the program after that first year and not complete the whole thing was really hard for me. I'm not a quitter. It was really scary to not follow through with something. It was scary to leave that behind in order to take care of myself. I want to be better at loving myself. I don't know if it's from being a woman or from growing up in a very high-achieving community or from having a lot of privileged peers, but I'm very hard on myself. I want to get better at letting things go. I want to get better at not comparing myself to other people. I think, most importantly, I want to get better at putting myself out there, whether that's dating, taking risks, etc. I want to love myself enough to know that I'm worth it. Also, almost done, guys. Part of the reason that I selected dance is because recently I've been in this weird place with my body, feeling like I'm healthy, but also trying to figure out how to lose weight. My mom telling me one thing, friends another. I'm trying to figure out how to love myself and my body while also being a healthy person. Part of that is realizing that my body is beautiful just the way it is, and that it takes up space, and that it can do things like dance.
My life changed radically almost 3 years ago when I left the corporate world after recovering from serious illness and nearly getting fired. I didn't know how much I valued my freedom and my time until I suddenly had both in spades. But recently I've fallen into a rut. I'm not living fully, even though I have this amazing life. It's time to shake things up, fill my time with something new and interesting and stimulating, stoke the inner fire, reacquaint myself with that scary, excited energy that I often tend to avoid. And let's be totally honest here, it's also time to focus on something other than dating. Improv. Improv definitely brings up fear for me. I was labeled the serious kid, and I was always told that I was very smart and mature for my age. So I really latched on to that label because it seemed like a good thing, and I got a lot of approval for it. So it's always been a stretch for me to just really let go and be a dork, even though I completely admire that trait in others. And then there's also this bit of old baggage I still carry around from my ex-husband, who insisted I did not have a sense of humor because I didn't laugh at his jokes. But true story. But the truth is, I actually love to laugh, and deep down, I think I'm hilarious. While I do have big doubts about how good I'd be as part of an improv group, there's actually a little voice inside of me that knows otherwise. I would love to be better at loving and valuing myself and remembering that there is nothing about me that needs fixing. Just yesterday, well, actually a few months ago when I filled this out, but just yesterday, this sentence jumped off the page of a memoir that I was reading and straight into my heart. I want to be the kind of person who will take care of me. And I'm pretty certain some version of that is going to be my next tattoo.
I have epilepsy, and for years I felt disconnected from my body. This is an invisible illness, but after getting to know me, most people will study my movements and be on the lookout for any sign that I might be about to have a seizure. I know they're trying to help, but it makes me feel like I have to hide and restrict my movements so they won't be afraid. I move through the world with a very protective and rigid posture because I don't know when I might have a seizure. I feel like I always have to be on guard, both for myself and for others. Dancing terrifies me because I don't trust my body. I feel like my body is something I rent by the hour. I'm afraid to ask people to watch me because I think I'll look like Frankenstein's monster, just hopelessly trying to connect life and body on stage. I'm terrified of dancing in front of other people. I'm afraid of having a seizure and ruining the whole event. I'm afraid that people will hate me if I mess up or don't catch on. My moment of pride? Several years ago, I was working as a client care coordinator, and my job was to assess elderly clients and supervise their care. I was called to meet with a woman in a nursing facility. She had Parkinson's and took a turn for the worse. When I entered her room, her legs were extended straight in the air. She was tiny and frail, and I could see that her protective briefs had been soiled through. She had a G-tube that was oozing all over the place, and there was a syringe laying in bed next to her. When I got to her bedside, I looked her in the eyes and introduced myself. She raised her eyebrows as high as she could, and knowing that she was nonverbal, I asked her if that meant yes. She confirmed that it did. By using an adaptive yes-no sign language, I found out that her gestures, legs in the air, raised eyebrows, were a call for help. She had been terribly mistreated in this facility, disconnecting her phone line, not changing her, and staff using her private room as a break and storage space for their personal belongings. I brought in an iPad so she could Skype with her daughter in Hong Kong and helped her daughter learn adapted sign language. We worked out a plan to get her out of that facility and make sure that her voice was heard and honored. On her birthday, I hired a classical guitarist to visit her room, and he played while we did an art project together. I massaged her head with essential oils and did her makeup. I wanted her to know that she was loved, that she was heard and seen. She passed away the next day. I want to love myself. I would never admit this out loud, but I don't love myself. I have this inner dialogue that constantly tells me I'm not good enough, I'm not interesting or fun, I'm not worthwhile. I want peace from that voice. I want to grow to the point where I love and respect myself as much as I love others.